In this movie, we are going to see how to make a fuzzy mask. You know, since Flash is a vector-based program, it's usually all or nothing. However, in CS5, I believe it started, we began to get these bitmap effects. And there's a little bit of a trick that you can use to make those kind of fuzzy masks that uses a bitmap blur filter. So what we're going to do here is get rid of my title. And I'm going to start off by importing a photograph to the library, because the idea is, like, I want to make one of those 50s baby pictures where they had like the baby head and it's all blurry all around it. Okay, so we are going to import to the library a photograph, and we're going to use the Hat of Shame for this. This is going to be my blurry baby picture. Okay, so that is in my library. I imported the library so it didn't go to the stage. You can see it right there. Now, this is kind of a step-by-step process, and the steps can be confusing. So I'm going to do this very deliberately, as in step 1, create a new movie clip symbol. Okay? We're going to create this one by choosing Insert New Symbol. What this does is it creates a new empty symbol. Okay? Insert New Symbol. We are going to choose a movie clip. We'll give it a name, Blurry Cat. And choose OK. Now watch what happens to my environment as soon as I do this. All of a sudden, hey, that gray work area went away. I'm inside Blurry Cat symbol, and I really have no idea of scale or anything, because I'm in this kind of nothingness of an empty symbol. The only thing I do have is this, which is my registration point. This is your 0, 0 point. This is your origin of your X and Y axes. So just because I feel uncomfortable like this, I feel kind of like I don't know where I am. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my rulers. Ah, that's better. Okay. This gives me pixels, and then you can see here's 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. So let's go ahead, and on our first layer, we're going to import, or we're going to drag a copy of that Hat of Shame onto the stage. Doesn't it just make your heart warm? It's a crab shell, yes. Yes, it's a crab shell. Now, there's my registration point. Whenever you're starting a symbol like this, it's always good to do things in a logical relationship to your registration point. And the most logical is with the upper left-hand corner of your artwork to be at the registration. That would be putting it at, I closed those up before, x equals 0 and y equals 0. If you just hit tab, it tabs you through these fields. Okay. So what I have now is simply a movie clip symbol with a bitmap picture in it. Upper left. We're going to lock this layer, and we are going to make a new layer here. However, this is not going to be a mask layer. Okay, I'm not going to change the type of layer. This is going to just stay a normal layer. Let's go ahead and name this one Cat. And I'm actually going to call this the mat. Do you know what I mean by mat? Like a window mat? It's when you're framing pictures and stuff, you get a piece of cardboard and you cut your thumb on the little angled razor blade thing, trying to cut out beveled hole in the middle so that it hides the edges. That's the way we're going to do it with this one. We're going to create basically a mat. And we're going to create the mat by starting with a rectangle. It is going to be this horrible pink color, because this is telling me that this is something that I don't mean to be seen. Or do something like that. Okay? Now, I made it quite big so that I could see over, so that I could see around, or so that it went well beyond my bounds of my picture so that I can move it around here. That's what I was meaning to say. Okay, now that I've got that, I'll deselect everything by hitting Escape, choose my oval tool, and choose a different color. So what we're going to do here is use merge shapes, and we're going to cut out a hole in this. I should remind you that, yes, I did make this with object drawing mode turned off. This is not a drawing object. It's a merge shape. Okay? I'm going to make this green oval now. And I'm only going to guess. If I had been good or something, I might have done this with guides or something like that, or I could have drawn it and moved it by layer, but that would have complicated the process. So now I have these two merged shapes, and I'm going to cut this one out by deleting, like so. Okay. That was step 2, I guess. Was that step 2? Step 7. Okay, step 3. Next thing. I'm going to use this matte to put a blurry edge on it. And so, in order for that to work, this needs to be a symbol, because only movie clip symbols have these filters. So I'm going to make this into a symbol. Before I do that, I am just kind of getting fussy with myself. I realized that my little hole isn't quite big enough. So I'm just going to, instead of doing that over again, I'm just going to... I could, but it's easier for me to just do this. Because also this gives me an idea, a way to look at it. Because I didn't want it that much bigger. Okay. Step 7, step 18, step 93rd. 11-5, step 11-5 is select your matte, convert it to a movie clip symbol. I call it matte. Step next. Select your matte, open the Properties panel, and put a filter on it. The very bottom Properties panel, you will see a list of filters. You add a filter by this little page turned up icon here, and we're going to choose a blur filter. Now, blur filters are bitmap effect filters. You can change their appearance by changing the numbers in here for blur X and blur Y. Right now they're linked together, which would be a good thing because that way I only have to change one. And you can see that as I make this bigger number, it gets blurrier. Okay? Blurry. Now you do have a quality setting on this, and typically if it's going to be something that's going to be animated, we use a low quality setting because things moving you don't see, and these are things, you don't see the warts and moles. You can get away with a lot more when things are moving than when they're still. But high quality settings are usually processor and memory intensive, so we could actually go ahead and how about just call it medium. There we are. Now here comes some counterintuitive stuff. We're going to select this thing, and we are going to change its display, its blend mode, to erase. And it's going to disappear. We're going to think, well, that's no good. But remember that we're inside of a symbol, and what we've just done is we've just set up a layer here. And what we've set it up to is do this erasing trick. So now let's go outside of the symbol. Okay? Don't have one of those on stage yet, so we have to go to our library, drag an instance out, and we're still not seeing what it wants. Hey, I was told this was going to be a blurry thing. Well, there's this final step. We have to take this symbol in the properties panel. We have to change its blending mode to layer. Okay, as soon as we change its blending mode to layer, we have what was that? Olin Mills, was that the old photography studio that would always, like in the 70s, have the kind of blurry photos and stuff? Here we have blurry, thoughtful cat there with crab shell head. And that's how to set up a blurry mask.
And you recorded that, right?
Yes, I have recorded this. This is a good one to have recorded because the steps do get kind of complicated.
What did you change the last blending mode to?
The blending mode for the actual symbol holding all this is changed to layer. And once you have this, you can animate it around and stuff. This is a single image. It could also be a talking cat. It could be animated or something like that if you wanted it to be. Now, your task now is to come up with a Christmas card for this. Okay, well, that's the end of this, unless there's any other questions on this technique. Okay, well, I'll end this right now.